All right, guys, welcome to today's Local Yokels Podcast. My name is Neil Colley. I'm your host. Real quickly, RoofWorks Roofing Company, primary sponsor of the show, offering a $500 rebate this year through the holiday season. If they do your roof, I want to be clear on that. If they do your roof, don't just call them for that thing. You got to mention Yokels, YOKELS, to get the discount, and you can also get that $500 rebate towards a nonprofit or charity of your choice, which I encourage instead of just taking it. But however, that's something they're offering, or a $50 discount on any repairs. So you can reach them at 662-303-0345 or roofworksmidsouth.com. So check that out, guys. Thank you very much. All right, on to the show.
They're great guys over there.
They are great guys. They're great people. So very trustworthy. Today's guest, I have Warrior Center for Women, North Mississippi. That's what we're going to determine where we're talking about today. Right. I have Lucia Strauss and David Vincent. Welcome, guys.
Hello.
Thank you very much for having us.
You're welcome. Tell everybody else. Well, we'll start with Lucia's.
My name is Lucia Strauss. I'm the Assistant Executive Director of Olive Branch Warrior Center for Women, and we lead women to Jesus, and we give them a new life and just take them through the 12 steps of recovery, and we deal with domestic violence. We even deal with women that are grieving loss.
Sure.
We do all kinds of things. Yes. We deal with addiction, alcoholism, and we just offer them something new. Right. A new way of thinking.
Right. Fantastic. All right. Well, we welcome you today. It's the first time on the show. David is a returning guest. I've had him on before, but we talked about his backstory. We won't get into that today as this show is more focused on the services they provide for the Women's Center of DeSoto County, really is kind of how I like to determine it, but it's in Olive Branch.
Yes, sir.
And your role as the CEO, founder.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, idea man. You do everything. Yeah. And have grown this thing. And has grown this thing beyond belief, man. You know, like from what we talked about to where you are right now. And you got some great projects going on right now. And that's why I wanted to have you come back on, is to talk about that.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Well, yes, out of our location here in DeSoto County is, our Women's Center have a 44-bed facility, 2 sober living homes. So we opened it in 2015. So it just became, past the 10-year mark. Yeah. We also have a thrift store that helps fund that women's mission.
Tell people where that's located at.
It is right off the square in Olive Branch, 7142 Highway 305. So we're right across the street from the old Fred's, or what is Cross Point Church now, but right there at the edge of Olive Branch and the town square area.
Right, the old part of town. Yeah, beautiful.
Old town, right. So we're right there at the edge on Pigeon Roost, and we've got a nice little thrift store there, and it helps. 100% of the proceeds help fund the women's mission. But that was our first women's center. So currently, we started our doing this, recovery ministry in South Haven with men. Ended up getting an old nursing home in Memphis. So we have a facility in Memphis for men, and then the Olive Branch Center was our second campus.
You also have a place for women out in Bolivar, Tennessee.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. And I know that local people sometimes choose to get we talked about that a little bit earlier, a facility a little further away from home.
Right.
Just put a little distance between themselves, especially if they're in a domestic issue or something of that nature. However, the one I really wanted to come on and talk about today is your new facility in New Albany.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Tell us about that.
Yes, sir. Yeah, so we're just now started on a project, a campaign and rehab project of a building in New Albany. It's in Union County, about 6 miles outside of New Albany, and we had the opportunity to acquire a building. It's a former hotel that was converted into a nursing home, and now we're going to turn it into a women's.
I think it's program. Perfect. I mean, it really is. When I seen the pictures that you shared with me, I thought, man, that is amazing. This is a perfect setup.
It'll be a 40-bed,
huge kitchen
women's center.
Stuff. Yeah,
had a former campground behind it, 5 acres, woods, walking trails.
Nice,
really nice, and definitely a very rural location, and a lot of need down there, but even sometimes our DeSoto County ladies, sometimes it's good to step out a little bit. Officially, I think it's about 55 miles outside of Olive Branch.
Yeah,
but But yeah, we hope to open that up by March 1st. So
that's pretty quick.
We've begun the project. Well, we just did a lot of roof repairs. We just rewired the building. So now we're doing more of the lipstick stuff, the painting, the flooring, and fixtures.
A lot of work.
So we've been raising funds in DeSoto County and down there in New Albany. And as the money and donations have come in, we're buying more materials. The great thing is, out of our men's center, we do a lot of construction and painting and those kinds of things.
Well,
so
that's one thing.
100% of all the work.
So a lot of people don't realize that you do have vocational programs within your system. So you teach them HVAC and all kinds of different trades. So like the men come in and sometimes they're the labor behind and getting things fixed up. And they do earn money, by the way, in the process. So. Yeah.
Yes, sir. We have job training and then some of the trade skills. We have an HVAC school, so we're real big in that. But over the last couple of years, we've also been teaching electrical and plumbing, and we have licensed guys who, graduates of our program who came in licensed who now work with us. Right. And so they're doing work and they're also training new guys. Amazing. So even today, yesterday I was in New Albany and we're down there rewiring a building. And with a licensed contractor who's training 3 of our guys how to wire a building. Wow. We're down there doing HVAC work, and we got 2 licensed guys training guys that men in our program how to do HVAC work.
So they're giving back.
It's amazing. They're giving back. The dollar stretches further, and we're able to do more with it. And honestly, I tell people, I got some pushback in the days when we were raising up the HVAC school and everything else, but it's like, I'm like, guys, do you think that we're going to be able to afford all this HVAC? No. And then the prices have just skyrocketed. But I counted it 2 years ago that we did about $250,000 in our own HVAC work.
On our own properties. Yeah. So huge cost savings.
We wouldn't even be able to make it if we had to pay.
That's amazing, really, that you can save that kind of cost and give them a newfound purpose in life, a new career opportunity. That's huge. Right. Now they can take care of themselves and have a new focus on life when they get back out in the real world.
It's a difference maker.
It is. It really is.
And one of the things about the Warrior Center, people, men and women, and some veterans are coming to get help. They're coming to get help, but once you get there, it's more about be a part of something.
That's right.
And so they are going to be put to work. And if you might go work in the kitchen or go help us open a new center, we're not shy about the work side. But, being a part of it is much better than,
it's a family, team,
group and class.
Exactly.
And just what you feel. I mean, we do work for money and too, but yesterday when I was down there, the glows on faces of the people that got to be a part of that, from cleaning to demo to electrical to just like they know what's going to happen here, and to be a part of that. Like I'm actually like how can somebody like me, how can God use somebody as low as me to be opening up a women's center? And so they grab and they fight over it. I mean, I'm kind of like, I'm going to be back tomorrow, right? You're not going to put me on that page. I want to be here.
That's right.
I know you do.
Cool. But it gives them purpose. And that's amazing. And they go back later on once they get down the road and graduate the program and look at they were a part of that, building that, and making it look pretty and nice and a new home for a lot of people in the future,
you're right. Exactly right. It'll help, it'll fill up because there's such a great need out there. But the plan is that it'll be there for years and years and years. And
it's amazing. Good job on that. Let's get back over here to the lady. Talk about her history a little bit. I know we talked about what you do, but you have a little history. I mean, you came through the Warriors House for Women. So talk about that. How you got there. And how you got to where you're at today?
Well, I grew up in Memphis, and wow, where do I begin? Okay, and I was in addiction for about I'm 43, so I've been in addiction since I was about 15. And I've been through Shelby County Drug Court, went to a few rehabs, never worked out, kept relapsing, and
all along having a family, married, all that stuff, possibly.
I was married at one time, it didn't work out, went through domestic abuse really bad.
Right, you talked about that, the domestic violence part of this program is huge for the recovery process, right?
Absolutely, because at the most vulnerable time in your life where you think you can't do anything, you think you can't work, I can't be around people, the anxiety, you're shown that you can do it.
Sure.
And that you can push through and hey, I can do this, this is okay.
Yeah.
But I left Memphis and I went to the Bolivar Center. and I was living in a hotel. I was on Sycamore View, and then I was over there at American Way, and just not good areas of Memphis.
Uptown, yes, yeah,
absolutely.
Like
addiction.
You could relapse pretty quickly, even if you were in a good place in your life.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, it's all in the choices that you make.
Sure.
The thing is with addiction, no matter how you feel, no matter what happens, you can't pick up.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Don't pick up, no matter what happens, and I learned that in the rooms.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is, I was in the rooms, I was in these programs, and nothing worked.
Yeah.
And I came to the Warrior Center, and it worked.
Right.
It worked because
David's method to his madness works.
It works.
Yeah.
And
like I always
works.
say, I tell people this all the time. Like, there's different organizations all over, and they all do a little bit different in a certain way. Most of them are all faith-based. That is the one common denominator I will find in most of them. But you all have a different way of doing things a little bit. And look, it's not for everybody, but it's for somebody, and a lot of somebodies apparently, because there's been a lot of people. How many of you think's been through there, David, since you've opened that place?
We've had a couple thousand people.
Right.
It went in most. We all didn't graduate. You wish they did, but some stayed different.
Because it's a 13-month program, correct?
12 plus. It could take you. Yeah. Some it takes 12 to 15, but because you have to do curriculum and be there at least a year.
Right.
But many lives touched, and I think the secret is that when you're in addiction, usually that is because a lot of dysfunction, a lot of bad choices, but even those bad choices still cause pain and trauma. And you may have lost marriages, lost kids. You may have been in and out of jail. You may feel like a failure. And when your identity is, I'd call it hijacked like that.
Yeah.
Like, where you, like who you are, who you believe you are is just so out of whack that it really takes faith to start correcting, making the crooked places straight, so to speak. So it's like sometimes it's like if somebody has stage 4 cancer, it's going to take a miracle. Yeah. If they're going to, you need doctors. Yeah, but it's also going to take a miracle. Yeah. And that's the way it is when you're so far down. It's going to take a miracle, and you get those by faith, and there's just a lot of healing, and I think the biggest issues for people in addiction is trauma, things they went through, environments. Not always, but just 90% of the time. There are those who had perfect homes and they were just rebels, but 90% of the time, it's a lot of pain, a lot of trauma, a lot of dysfunction. But then that's half of it, and the other half is just identity, the way you see yourself, the way you look at yourself, and if you think you're worthless, and
so you come in almost tore down when you get there. So your job is to kind of get them a base point to where they can start rebuilding.
Give them hope.
Yeah, and give them hope. Work as a family unit, a team. I know that a lot of people think, well, they work them girls. I'm like, well, I know a couple of folks come through your program, and they say, yeah, they do, but there's a purpose behind that. It's because it's to teach us teamwork and to think of others before ourselves.
Exactly.
Things of that nature. So I get it. Yeah. You know what I mean? I do understand the process. So, I tell people this, I wouldn't do it any other way based on what I know. Meaning, if we do it for money in thrift stores and events. Well, but it has to pay for itself.
I would do it if we didn't need the money, because of the value
you get out of those processes. Yeah, absolutely. So when you came, you left off there that you were been through a domestic issue, bad domestic violence. You even talked about one of the places you probably didn't see the Warrior Center. Is that going to help you with that later on? But that's probably maybe part of the trigger points with upbringing and childhood. Got you to a point of where you were depending on drugs and alcohol, possibly.
Yes,
and then you get into a domestic situation to cover the pain. You start working again through it that way. So you get to the Warrior Center at some point, and they help you with all these things.
They help you with everything.
Yeah.
I think every single thing that we do and learn is therapeutic. Yeah. Down to the food we eat, down to us making our beds every day, to just functioning again. Just getting up and doing it. It's just like it's like training ground for the real world, and you can do it sober, and you can go in there and heal, and you meet women that have been through the same thing that you've been through, so then
just
you don't
in a little
feel
different
alone.
way. Everybody's got a unique story, but what I've learned through working with a lot of recovery programs through the show, it's pretty much all the same. Like, the trigger points and like what keeps the relapse from taking place is you help them find that through the organization, to try to keep them healthy beyond the program. It's teach them a path in life that they can follow and remember how to stay on course and not fall off, back in a relapse like you talked about.
Absolutely.
So carry on with that.
Yes. Well, when you first come in, you're scared and you're vulnerable and you're kind of, checking the place out because you don't really know. But then you're in Bible class and Proverbs class and you're learning. You're like, well, I don't know who any of these people are. And I don't know what's going on. But, as time goes on and you read the word, you just start to change. Something inside you change. Even your dreams change. It's
so you find your faith.
Really.
So you find your faith.
Yes, you find your faith.
And then the healing starts.
Well, you find out who you are in Christ.
Sure.
Because our past can become our identity, or we think that all we're worth is what we have been through.
Sure.
And then you just get to learn who you are in a sober state of mind, and you gain clarity, and you see more truth as time goes on.
How many years do you think you spent in addiction?
I will say 20 plus years, maybe 25.
Wow. Man.
Absolutely. And it progressed as time went on.
It got worse and worse.
It got worse. I'll never do that. I'll never, I did.
Do you have children?
Yes, I do. I have 3.
Right. You have a good relationship with them now?
Yes, everything. Look, I mean, it's not where I want it to be, but there's been huge restoration.
Right.
Huge
and that's part of the
family.
process here is at the Warrior Centers to helping you, I guess, rebuild those relationships with your family members, whether it be kids or mothers and fathers. Because most of the time when they get to you, somebody's done with them. Like, they're just like, I can't help them no more. A lot of bridges are burned. Right. I mean, I don't know how it happened. I witnessed this a few years ago. Me and my daughters were, a friend of ours called, and we were going to go pick this lady up, and basically her dad just put her out. He's like, I can't do it no more. And I'm like, boy, where have you got to get to in your life to where you abandon your child? Right. But it happens because people don't know how to help them. You guys know how to help them. And that's the thing. You're trained, Absolutely. You're always learning, probably new education. Right. One thing I talked to Sarita about is she's always getting new education for the domestic side of things because there's people are figuring out better ways for mental health and things of that nature. And I'm sure this is ongoing with y'all. Right. Do you bring people in to train the facility leaders?
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, that's a huge cost. People don't realize that there's a lot of work on ongoing education. They're just like teachers, always got to be learning the new methods and things. But the groundwork initially starts with your the faith-based side of it. Right. That's where it really has to stay focused.
Yeah, that's our foundation, and it comes up from there. The next levels A and D, because we know so we think some of the issues are faith and identity issues, but then we know we got a lot of drug and alcohol problems. So we're unique. We have, we've had, drug and alcohol counselors coming in, recovery support people. We do Celebrate Recovery, the 12-step. So, we have relapse prevention and recovery skills. It is, life skills, life training, so it's start with faith and then build up from there. But that, always trying to make the program better. And really the goal is to have the best program that we can have.
I would think you're pretty diverse on what you offer. Like that, not to interrupt you, but like I deal with a lot of these organizations. Some of them are pretty singularly focused, like trying to get you to a certain point, and y'all start from the ground level up and walk them all the way through, in many different ways. And if you don't have the resources, you go and find the resources to help them. Maybe another facility even sometimes, right?
Right. Yeah. We do. We take care of a lot of needs outside. I mean, sometimes, whether it's mental health, we have dental, healthcare. There's one of Lucia has seen. We got a grant for women to get outside therapy from licensed counselors. Sure. And so for the tough cases, but 2 ladies get out of the Olive Branch Center, get chosen at a time, and they're going through a therapist. Great. And then they'll get their therapy, and then 2 more will go through. Great. So that's been a great thing because that's not we deal in the faith, but then there's different levels of healing. Sometimes
well, it's beyond what your capabilities are.
Yes, exactly.
We're not trained therapists,
And honestly, a lot of times in some of these issues were like one of the issues is give you an example. There was a lady who lost a baby, and she was 28 years old and had no addiction and lived a strong life. When she lost the baby, it just really hurt her.
It rocked
and
her.
she was an addict from that time forward.
Wow, man.
So you got to dig deep on that. We were able to get her some outside therapy, and she's flourished. But she needed that. She needed even more than we could offer. Mm-hmm. She went so far. But so anything that we can do to be better, to help, we're pretty innovative in that way.
And just finding, I'm sure. Well, for one thing doesn't work for all. Sometimes you get a unique personality. I think as a group, you would agree, like when you go in there, like you're a unique individual. You know what I mean? Like all of us are, right? So your needs may be just a little bit different, and so like your job now probably is to help identify some of these special needs within these ladies that are coming in. Like this is not working for Karen or whoever, like maybe we need to work it this way. And then you can, I guess you can find with your boss, and then they talk to David and they figure out what's the best plan, because you guys are always working together. I don't know how you do it, man. I start thinking about your day events and I don't even know how you do it. You've got a lot of good people in place is what I figured out. You definitely do. There's no doubt. Yeah. Great house.
We have 80 something Lucias. We do.
Hey.
We do.
That's amazing. Yeah. Do you really have that many?
Yeah. We have 84 people work at the Warrior Center, home office and 4 campuses, and 81 are graduates.
Good Lord.
So the great
that
thing
speaks a lot of volume.
Awesome.
It's all God. I just like, how did that happen?
Yeah.
I think, I do think it was a God thing. It's a springboard to purpose. That as we've grown and opened new campuses, we have residents who love the place. They've been touched by it. They want to give back, and they're willing to sacrifice. They're willing to start out in an internship. They're willing to build, and so we've built from within, which a lot of times you may say, okay, we didn't go hire licensed and drug alcohol counselors. We couldn't afford them. I mean, we've hired them before, but just everybody, hey, go to school 4 years and then come back and help us. It's just, hey, roll up your sleeves and get to work. And that's the way we built it. But what I found is that I think it's helped a lot of people to make it. Mm-hmm. I mean, I tell people, I say, me and the Hershey Burnett's of the world, if we're not doing this, it ain't going to be a pretty picture. I'd probably be in jail or worse.
It keeps you focused too. Like it gives you
having
driving
a purpose. I gotta stay straight. Because too many people counting.
Well, you got a lot of folks counting on you. That's exactly right. Yeah. You're like a father figure to all these people. And like leadership roles, and then obviously you've empowered these women. Which is, I don't think people speak enough about that. Like when you're running an organization to where you're trying to build these ladies to where they become more important than ever to themselves. Amen. Like that's the big part I see with like empowering women. To me, it's more than just drug recovery and rehab and all that. And even beyond the spiritual side of it, it becomes like, are they emboldened enough to go out and take on the world by themselves? And I've seen that from a couple of your ladies. Like when they get out of there, they're on fire, son. They're ready. They're ready to get their life together, know? And so that's the part that I see that's amazing. And it's different for everybody, but like the ones I do know, that's exactly what took place. I mean, they're ready to get independent. They're ready to go, So they come out with this new mindset of like, I can do it.
A lot of junk is shook off. Your identity's healed and this, you're ready to go.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey guys, this show is brought to you in part by RoofWorks Roofing Company. Not only just friends of the family, friends of the show, but great people, a great company. You can trust them for any of your roofing needs. Call them today. Check out what they have to offer. Free quotes, free inspections. And I can tell you right now, they're going to back up their work. Call them today at 662-303-0345. You can also reach them at roofworksmidsouth.com. With your story, to get back to that, so how long were you, when you got to the program, how long ago was that?
I walked in the doors December 6th of 2021.
So it's been a minute.
Yeah. So it's been a little
how long did you stay in the facility as a, I guess, what do y'all call it, a patient?
Resident.
Okay.
I stayed as a resident. I did the full year, of course, and I graduated, a week after my year mark.
Okay.
But before my year was up, I went to Olive Branch and I started working at Olive Branch.
Nice.
And it was wonderful and it was scary, but it worked out beautiful. Yes, we're a big family.
Yeah.
And we love each other.
And you couldn't see yourself doing anything else?
No, absolutely not.
Because even if it wasn't for David, now that you've done this and he's given the opportunity, which is an amazing story that most of your employees are graduates of the program. That says volumes. Like 80-something people want to give back like this, you know. And I'm sure there's some that's come and gone that's like that work there
sometimes
a while and move
it's a
on.
season.
Yeah. Right. So probably in the hundreds, truth be known. Oh, yeah. You know what I mean? So with that being said, so now you've been there for 3 years roughly as an employee. And you've graduated from an intern probably to different levels of the job.
Oh, yeah. I've had a few jobs. Yeah. And so this is my favorite one so far. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. But, you know, I think the best teacher is experience.
Sure.
You know, I can tell the ladies what not to do.
Sure. I've been through it. Yeah, I've been through it. So tell me that lie again, because I've been through that. Yeah.
Absolutely.
I think that is a story Stacy Dodd, our friend, talks about. He's like, man, you can tell me I'm the guy. I did it all. You know what I mean? So I know every lie you're going to tell me. Right. He said, I'll listen, you know, and it is true, like, especially if you come from a side of addiction or whatever your path has been to get there. If you've been a part of it, it's so much more impactful talking to someone who's been through it, through the fire with you, you know.
They realize, you know, they can't lie as well. Yeah. You can't manipulate you. You know too much. Yeah. There's a respect level and a lot of it, they you know, and some of us, you know, their own character defects, but when you're on that side, you think nobody's been through what I've been through, and you don't understand. And if you're coming from the angle of, let's say, you know, you didn't go through some things, and you just went to college and everything else, they won't listen as well. Yeah. I'm not saying it's impossible, because we've had a few good counselors who came from that side, but it's harder. It's a lot tougher when they know you've been through some of the same stuff.
It's a different level of respect. Yeah.
Like you know where I come from, and there's a respect. Okay, well, how did you go through all that and get to where you're, and it's hope. They're looking at a counselor who brings them hope because they've been through the same thing.
Yeah, man. Like, by the way, I want to thank you before we get too far into this, you know, with our Feed My Lambs fundraiser we did this year. And I called and asked you, I said, man, do you think you could provide me with a little bit of help? You're like, yeah, how much you need? And I was like,
we got some women power.
Yeah, I got some folks, Neil. And I was like, okay, well, I don't think I need a bunch. Well, anyway, Shirley, I mean, you couldn't be there. You had other obligations, and I appreciate everything. But man, these wonderful, amazing women showed up, and I'm telling you, I don't think we could have done it without them. Yeah. I mean, they were listening, they were tuned in. They'd come to me, they'd follow me around, and when I was like, just say the word, they're looking at my eyes the whole time. They're just like, what you need, what you need. Awesome. And then, man, they were just like, you didn't have to. I mean, they were very organized, so respectful to the community. I mean, everybody there,
the warrior way.
The warrior way. Yeah. I said them, and then of course Miss Ann's Precious and Pink ladies were there as well, helping us a little bit.
Awesome.
A little different category of where they're at and their stages of things, and but there again, just showed up. Everybody showed up. You know, their house is for women. You know, strictly a little bit different way of doing it than what you do. Some of hers are 3 years, you know, and staying there. And of course, Christian faith based as well, but not nearly as, I guess, intricate in the type of, but it has to deal with the same type of issues, you know, like they're coming in straight out of jail sometimes with her for sure. And I know in your case too, like sometimes the only way they're going to get out of jail is if they go to like your place or her place or whatever.
Court ordered
stuff.
Release
I'll release you, this person. She has her unique way of doing it. You know, you have your unique way of doing it. It works. When it works, you know, sometimes it don't work there. Sometimes it don't work for you. That's what I implore people is like, just because you went through something similar doesn't mean this may not work for you, because they just do it a little bit different. That may it might work. I mean, it might be the thing that you really need, the catalyst to get you over the hump, you know.
And sometimes a person changes in season. So, you know, concerning, you know, Precious and Pink, we have women who've left there and come to us. We've also had women who've left the Warrior Center and to go over there.
Yes, you depend on each other
and do well. Yeah. And so, sometimes that woman or that man in certain instances, they're in different stages of their life. Yeah. So, you know. Yeah, but we're just trying to help. So whether it's with us or anywhere.
Right. So like you find the facilities is what I'm trying to get at. So like, and you talk to her, and I know you guys all talk to each other and get along because you have to depend on each other for sometimes resources of, hey, do you know someone that can help this person, you know, like mentally or something, like what doctor or facility. So I get all that. Y'all, and I think it's just, again, you know, some of these folks they never went through that.
Right.
Anyway, and you didn't either, by the way. I want to make that clear to our audience. David was not an alcoholic, drug abuser, none of that stuff, which surprised me.
I did abuse substances.
Well, but it wasn't your problem.
I was never an addict.
Right. You were never an addict.
So it was my addiction was being a thief and crime and growing up in that.
Which blew my mind when you told me that the first time I met you, because like you're so good at this part with the addiction, and I mean, I guess it all is just kind of similar, you know.
It is that you're still coming from a place of brokenness, and and then the testimony of being so broken and wanted in 4 states at 22 and headed to prison at 28 for 15 years, and it was a jailhouse experience that must have turned my life around, because there's some fruits to it. I think that they listen to that because it's still a broken person whose life was turned around.
You started such at a young age.
Yeah, very young.
You were telling me the story on our previous show. Anybody go back about June of 2025, you'll see the show where he and I talked about his past. But, part of it was your mother encouraged it. Actually sent you out on missions, right?
Right.
So it started there, and you're like, if mom's telling me it's okay, and then you graduate to where when you start figuring out, well, it ain't right, but it is easy, and then you just get caught up in this world, right?
Right. Yeah. I just was kind of born in it, and had fearless and stupid too.
And I just can't see that. I mean, knowing you, I can never see you that way. Like, I really can't. Can you?
I would never know.
I bet you any of the ladies that go through there, they could never see that David in their eyes.
That's a good thing. We say that though.
Absolutely.
That's the goal. That God does something so great in your life that you're not even the same person. But it was. It was a wound that I went through and dumb stuff that I got caught up in, all out of, no dad and trauma and just how I grew up.
Again,
but we're a big
folks.
Believer in with us and us finding our purpose, that we went through all that for a reason, and God used the pain for a purpose. Yeah. And that's kind of the hope that we try to teach the men and women is like, what if you went through that for a purpose, and what if God wants to use it, and what if the very most painful things that you went through in your life, God could turn that around and use that to help somebody.
Powerful.
And that's really what. I mean, I'll be honest, that's why I'm where I'm at right now. I was in a jailhouse, and I grabbed a hold of that.
I remember you telling me that story.
How do you deal with that kind of failure and pain? And the only way I was able to process it and deal with it is like, what if I could help some people with it?
Sure.
They would make it worth it all.
And look what you're doing today, 30 years later. 30 plus years, right?
Well, just under 30, so we're at 26.
26 years,
yes,
right?
Sir, 26.
And look, and you just said earlier, like, I don't know if we said that on air or off air, but like, if you weren't doing this, right now, it still drives you. That's what still drives you to keep you on the path to help others, Yeah. And to me, that's huge. And you'll do it till you die. That's a fact.
I'm not retiring.
Yeah, you're not retiring. You may let somebody like Lucia's take your role, like the next generation.
Step back some.
But I don't see you quitting. Like for me, this is a passion. The stuff that I do, just a little bit of stuff I do, not even close to what y'all do. I always say that, but it's a passion to help others. You either got it or you don't. And sometimes you can't see it until somebody shows it to you. So I think part of what you're doing in your organization is, especially like this young lady sitting next to us that sees what you've done. Yes. And she's thinking, man, like I have this real opportunity to do the same thing. Just, like maybe on a smaller level, maybe it starts out as just an intern in an organization. And then you turn around and all of a sudden you start learning and educating yourself on how to help others. And just watching, like you said, experience is the best teacher. Sometimes just walking in and seeing the different things, what triggers folks, because everybody's trigger points are different, and just learning, and so that's the thing I find amazing the most in these programs when I start talking to folks is how a lot of them want to come back and help because they've seen the importance, or they want to start their own thing, right? And I'm sure you've seen that before too.
Yeah, and that's great. Yeah, we've had graduates go to work at other centers, and we've had a couple start their own centers too.
Amazing, that's amazing stuff, man. So you're now, what is your role again?
The Assistant Executive Director.
That's a pretty big title.
Number 2 in command.
Oh, that's pretty amazing. So do you help run the I guess you do both, like you run the house and the thrift store a little bit. Do you deal with that?
I don't do the thrift store, but I do run the Olive Branch Center.
Yeah.
And we also have a staff house, so I'm like the house manager, house mom
you
there
have
too.
You have a staff house.
Sober living.
And then sober living houses as well.
Yes.
You got 2 of those. Are they in Olive Branch?
They are.
Okay.
Yeah.
How many women are in those houses?
20 in 2 houses. Yes.
Wow, man. And how many is in the facility?
26.
So y'all got about 46 plus staff, so probably upwards of
46 with living staff. Now, some of the staff now live in their own, got their own places and stuff. But yeah, they're including staff beds, 46 because some staff live there.
That's a lot of folks moving around. You know what I mean?
Yeah, a lot of moving parts.
A lot of moving parts, man. A lot of moving parts.
A lot of vans, a lot of chaos.
Oh yeah,
we call it organized chaos.
So Miss Ann, anybody I talk to, anybody that's dealing with women on a regular, I've noticed this. Like men, it's not such a big deal because like I had Jake Linton on this talking about their houses and stuff, and the women's needs are tremendous in the toiletry area. Like Miss Ann, I asked her, I said, what's your biggest need? She goes, always toilet paper. Always. That's a joke, but it ain't a joke. You know what I mean? It's serious, right?
Amen.
Everywhere. Yeah. So if you ever want to help these folks, that kind of stuff's probably just as important as anything else.
It's gold.
It's gold. Yeah. It's absolute gold. Yeah. And I mean, I'm sure that's a fact. Yeah. And I thought that was funny, but it is a real true need in the houses like that. So, especially when you just think about like if you have a house of 4 of you, what you go through, just just a family, so then you 10 times that on a daily basis. Whoa, and they're all women, like every single one of them. Oh yeah, man, it's for sure. That's an issue, and probably paper towels out the wazoo. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and toothpaste, and tea, and just everything. It's a lot. That gets used, there. When you're
so people that want to help the house directly, or the facility, or your center, just overall the Warrior Center, period. If you want to focus centrally on a specific place, like you're like, I want all my efforts to go towards the Warrior Center for women in Olive Branch, tell people how to do that, like whether it be financial donations, obviously always welcome, and they need them, folks. They do. Also, if you have some clothing or something like that, do they take it to the thrift store? Is that where you choose to take it, or if they dropped it off at the center?
Two options, but yes, sir. So we're funded. 70% from our thrift store and our social enterprises business, 30% is donations. So they're big need there. So people are able to they can make a direct donation to like our Women's Center in Olive Branch, and online you can pick your campus. So you can make a donation to the Olive Branch for Women campus.
Right.
So we take donations online, and then of course we have our thrift store. So we take donations there. A lot of people.
By the way, the Warrior Center, warriorcenter.org. is where you'll go to.
Yes, sir.
If you want to get on their website to find out more information about locations, details about how to give, possibly, that kind of stuff, and their needs.
Yes, sir. Yeah. And so we a lot of donations are dropped off at our thrift store, in Olive Branch. We also do pickup, so we run the box truck.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Every Saturday, all around DeSoto County.
Okay.
So we do DeSoto County pickups on Saturdays.
So just women's clothing.
Anything.
Food, plates,
anything that you would find in a Goodwill. From household to clothes to children's clothes and toys.
Because y'all take it into the thrift store and try to repurpose it or resell it to fund the house, and then if it's not, it's something that can be used within the homes, right?
That's correct. Okay. Some of it gets used in the homes. We like out of DeSoto County, we use. Like 70% of our donations here, because we're a suburb, so it's a higher level store. Yeah. We have it's an upscale store. A lot of stuff that may not could sell in Olive Branch, we send it to our other store in Women's Mission in Bolivar, Tennessee, and push it there. So we got 2 stores. It's funding,
right?
And so that's a way.
Look out, New Albany. I bet you're going to get a new thrift store.
We are. We're actually looking in Oxford. We want the New Albany Center to have their store in Oxford because it's such a great town, up and coming, and it's one of the hottest towns of Mississippi, and with Ole Miss and everything going on down there.
Oddly enough, Olive Branch is the hotbed of the county. Did you know that up here?
Yeah, it really has come a long way. A couple of years, it was the fastest growing city in America per capita.
It was. Yeah.
It's and that's where I live, and that's kind of we do stuff in everywhere, but we consider Olive Branch our home base. Because that's like I said, there's so much going on there.
I look at the whole county as one big city. Like to me, I look at it as like one big suburb. I do, because you really don't know when you're leaving one to the other normally, because it's just a sign, you know.
That's true.
I mean, it really and truly is. I just look at DeSoto County as one big town.
It feels that way.
It does feel that way, because we all, our services are intermingled. I don't even know why we have so many different municipalities, really, honestly. It seems wasteful at times, but I also know it's a lot to manage.
Yeah.
And it's carried over from back when there wasn't really much space, or there was a lot of space between Olive Branch and South Haven. Mm-hmm. It was a little bit of a country between them, Now it's like
now they touch.
Now they just touch. So I get it. I understand why there's so many different municipalities, but it just seems like, man, it's a lot to manage, and they all have special needs.
Right.
With this one, I don't think there's another facility specifically like y'all's that's in the area. You got to have one of the only.
Right. Especially built like we do, I mean, we do we feel like some very innovative things, from the military structure to the job training, the work training side, and I would say just the path to purpose.
Sure.
I don't know of anybody that can claim that.
Yeah. I mean, I think there's probably people out there trying their best to advocate for others. I know, like I mentioned this place, and I've gave them a little boost before, like the Buchanan House. I don't know if you're familiar with them. They're kind of an upstart here recently.
Okay.
I talked to Sarita about it. They're more domestic, but I think they're more emergency type needs. Like it's one of those things where, like, if the shelter's full, or yours, maybe you can't take them.
Okay.
Maybe it's, from what I understand, it's like an immediate, like, well, let's get them a hotel room, let's get them sick, whatever, transition stuff.
Yeah.
And that's their focus, probably growing, just trying to get the funds to grow it to where it can get to the next level. And I implore you, contact David, contact Sarita if you're listening to this and you're trying to start something like that. They want partners, folks. Like, they need help, like, especially in the domestic side, because that is a very difficult thing to navigate when they have children, and you can't do that. Not yet, but you're working on that, and tell people about that.
Yes, sir. We have the new New Albany Women's Center we're working on, but it was in April, we closed on a building in Memphis, and we had the opportunity. It was a massive nursing home right there on Walnut Grove in Tillman, right there at the edge of East Memphis and in Midtown.
Yeah.
Great location, and it's a 74,000 square foot building.
Huge.
And we've acquired it, and we've acquired it with the plan. It needs a lot of work, but we acquired it with the plan for it to become a 200-bed homeless women and children's home project.
Was it a former hospital?
It was a nursing home.
But
a really large nursing home.
Right,
it's like a mini hospital, though, because it's got 4 floors, elevators, 3 wings.
Tons of kitchen areas.
Yes, it's a beautiful location. It was damaged. They stole some copper, and they cut up the electrical wire, still in copper wire.
Yeah.
So, it's going to be a project.
Thieves, a little David running through there. Back in the day, that'd been you.
Yeah, we joked about that guy, whoever led that crew, could make a great executive director.
He probably would.
He's got some gifts, because about that, when we went in there and actually ran into the thieves.
Wow.
So the people were trying to sell us the building and give us the keys, and we're going to give us 6 months to raise money. They really wanted to dump this building, and so God opened up the door. They give us the keys. We walk into the building, and all at once we walk down the hall. We run into 7 bandits who are in there high on meth and fentanyl, who are in there cutting, and they got torches.
They didn't know you were there.
We snuck up on them. They were high.
Jeez,
and anyway, so they start coming out of rooms looking crazy and all hoodies on. And I said, "This building belongs to the Warrior Center, and police are on the way. You better get out of here right now." And they just started scattering like cockroaches, But we ran them out of there, and but they had damaged. See, I was in the building a month earlier, and there was no problems. They did it right before we took over.
Man. Millions of dollars too, by the way.
Yeah. They did, probably about $4 million of damage. Ooh, now, we hadn't done the deal. The price went way down.
Right.
And we basically were giving it for pennies, less than half of even the land value. But we're now on a project to raise that building, restore that building up. We begin a capital campaign up there in Memphis. But our goal is in 18 months to have that thing open. And the reason why we want to do this, it's been a dream, because we used to do men only.
Yes.
And women would come to our door. And when a woman needed help, not as many women need help, of course. A lot of times they'll stay in a bad situation.
Because of kids.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. But when they would come, there wasn't a lot of resources.
Sure.
So we had a dream. Let's open up a women's center. The door opened in Olive Branch. That place that we're in was formerly Safe Haven, which was like a jail release ministry. A guy named Larry Logan that did that. Well, they ended up dissolving and closing, and they donated us that building to do women. And so we got to get into that. Well, then the next dream was women and children, because we get calls.
Sure.
Weeks ago, I got a call and they put them, straight through to me. I don't know how to answer this one.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm at the South Haven Walmart with 3 kids living in a car.
Wow.
I've been here 2 weeks. Nobody will help me. And she's right. There's no resources. There's 50 beds in the whole entire Mid-South for women with children. And those beds are in 2 places, Purdue Home, which is Salvation Army, and the Mariah House. And so those are 50 rooms, beds in those 50 rooms. So that's 50 families.
What is it?
18-month waiting list.
That's what I was just going to say. Like, how do you even get in there?
I mean, what we do, and that's all is refer them to a place that they can never get in.
Right.
Or refer them out of town. Now, we refer them to a place called the Love Ladies Center in Birmingham, Alabama.
You told me about that place before.
And I've gotten ladies with children in there, but that's a long way to go.
It's a long way.
And so we want to be that here. That's always been a dream.
Sure.
We feel like God has given us this building. We just got to raise some money and fix that bad boy up, and it will be one day be for 200 women and children.
I love how you look at things like I look at it. Like, oh, it's just money? Well, we can figure that out. Yeah. You know what I mean? The rest of it.
One step at a time.
Yeah, we'll get that. That's how I see things, because you make connections with people through our networks of people like me, get to know you, I help you promote your stuff. And I turn around and I'm like, dang, David, I need some labor. And I was thinking, how much it cost me? He goes, nothing, man. Yeah. This is like my gift to the program. Like, how can I help you? Like, these women need this too. Like, they need to go out and see this community. Like, this is better than a football game we're going to go clean up after. They're going to see real community service taking place and how these people organize, and everybody's getting together and trying to raise awareness and money to feed kids. And you told me that, and I was like, okay, done. So send them on. So, but that's what I'm trying to get at, is like, there's just so much community need through the networking. So you find these resources that the money will come. I promise you it will. Somehow or another, somebody's going to find your passion in this, and they're going to be there with you as a partner somehow.
We're crazy enough to believe that.
I believe it. I believe it.
We feel like, God opened up a door. So, and that means he's, he'll finish it. It's just one step at a time. And that kind of, crazy faith got us this far. So we're just going to keep sticking with it.
Yeah, man. You're doing great, man.
Yeah.
Back to you, young lady. Let's see what your focus is. So your goals are now you're the assistant executive director of operations, whatever you called it. Yes. It's a long title, but I love it. We just need to get you a name tag with all of this.
Okay.
But however, so your goal is from here, you just hanging in there, learning as much as you can,
Absolutely.
And to take the next step that
Grow
David.
in ministry, just, help others, because I'll never forget who helped me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And for that reason, like, we help others, and it keeps me okay. Yeah. It keeps me well.
Yeah.
To serve others.
Rebuilding relationship with the family.
Yes.
Yeah, all that
absolutely.
Good stuff. How old are the kids now?
23, 19, and 16.
Pretty grown.
Yes.
Yeah, but still need their mama in a good place.
And
they will forever,
a healthy mama.
They will forever need you that way. Just so you don't. My mom passed away last year. And I did not realize how much I needed my mama. Mm-hmm. And I didn't even have issues like that. I just needed her,
Right.
And so when you're in a healthy spot, I mean, you're their everything, and you want to be their everything, know. So proud of you for that.
Thank you.
Yeah, I don't even know you, but I'm proud of you for that accomplishment. So, and good on you for helping her do that path. And I'm sure you have plans for her. She just don't know yet. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we have secret plans.
Yeah, I bet. As we grow these things, like,
well, she's moved. That she's moved up the ladder. She started as a senior resident. Like she mentioned, she actually we transferred her to be like an assistant to the boot camp director while she was in her program. We could see she was an up and coming superstar. So she was a senior resident, and then graduate. We call help staff intern. Yeah. She did that for a season, became boot camp director, program director, then assistant director. So her next step will be executive director and run her own campus. And as we plant, it could be in Olive Branch, and it could be
New Albany,
it could be
Walnut Grove.
Yes,
and
back
so to Bolivar.
Super excited.
So we want her to grow and grow in ministry, help more and more ladies.
Your job
hopefully make more and more money.
I think her job is to serve. It sounds like in her mind. So So are you currently, are you living in the facility too, or do you have a separate home?
I do live at the staff house.
Okay,
yes.
Good. That probably helps you too, stay centered and focused.
It does. It does. It helps me to stay connected.
Yeah.
And, you know, of course, in the future, you know, get my own place, but I'm working up to that. It's gotten further and further.
Right. So
yes.
I think that anybody coming out of a situation, depending on where they're at in their mindset, like immediately want to go find their own home, their own job, that kind of stuff. You had enough wherewithal to know, oh no, I can't. I'm not ready for that.
It takes time.
Yeah, it takes time.
It takes time.
So people are just in different spots. Like you call it seasons. I mean, it's different timing, you know, like in their place of mindset to what they're available to go do, you know?
Yeah. And there's a time. Sometimes we can be a little too fast and impatient, especially when you're coming out of addiction. Like you need the tribe.
Yeah.
So there's a safety. Yes. Them girls that live in her house get on her nerves. Yeah. She has her own room, but she's the house manager of the house too.
Sure, you got your own space.
You know, but yeah, you know, they get on her nerves. She would be lying if she says they would. But you know, but it does have a way of and see, I came up like that. So I mean, I've taken people in my house. Next thing I got 15 men in my house, and then the first
that's how you started.
Yes, the first 3 or 4 places we were at, I lived there too.
Yeah,
and it did get on my nerves, but at the same time. It's a different when you're going back and forth to like it's a job. It's different when you're like there. It literally it's like you're in this cave and you're in a tribe and you're doing this. You're doing really life together. And so the intensity of that, more can get done in you in that kind of intense situation than it would take you 10 or 15 years of life. Because it's just a
lot of times too, like after you get clean and you get kind of the stuff, and then like when you really start opening your eyes, the trauma starts rolling in. So then you got to deal with that.
Exactly right. Exactly. Yeah. And that happened with me. I had those first, you change your life and you're not doing the bad things anymore, but then you have this stuff coming up to the surface that you used to kill by the other things that you change, whether that's a feeling or money or
I don't know what it is, but I mean, I think it's a common thing for folks. It seems like that goes through addiction of any sort. Yeah, is that after you're clean and you think you got it whooped, and then here it all comes back coming from up.
It's coming up.
So that's where you need that extra love, that extra support that y'all continue to give your residents, right. And probably stay with them. Like, as long term, if they graduate and move out, they can always call on you and be like, hey, I need a little help right now. Like I'm going through something, Yeah,
with us, we have what's called the recharge program. Okay. So you start tripping up, it's like hurry back. You don't have to crash and burn and fall too far. And that happens. We have, we've worked with, thousands of people, but we have a couple in recharge at all time. But we're proud of that because it's a shorter program. It's 90 days. But if you graduated before, we don't feel like you got to come do all that again. Yeah. I feel like you get that back real quick if you just get back in the environment and get back in church and get your faith back and kind of get straightened out. So they come do a 90-day program, and once they complete that, they're right back where they were before.
Amazing.
Like it didn't happen.
Man, I think it's beautiful, man, what y'all are doing. Anything else you want to talk about tonight that we didn't discuss? Like maybe your goals and what are something you offer that we didn't discuss?
No, sir. Pretty much covered.
We got everything
on the list tonight.
Christmas is coming. And this show may air, I don't know if it's be before or after Christmas, but Merry Christmas to everybody and y'all too. Have y'all got a big tree in the facility? Have y'all got it all decorated kind of festively?
Is it? Yes, the ladies love it. It's very
I bet
festive.
they do. Man, look, I'm not kidding you. When I said these ladies were like, they were ready. And it was like, I was amazed at the teamwork and stuff. I was very much so. Y'all have done a wonderful job. And they were glad to be there. They were glad to help. I was like, man, David, those guys have got it going on. So, I can't remember their names because I was meeting so many people that day.
Her boss and the executive director was Amy Butler. She led that day, I believe.
Yes.
Amy and a team of about 8 ladies was over there.
Yeah, so they come over and Amy, I told her to get on the car and help go judge cars. Wow.
No wonder she had so much fun. She likes those cars.
Oh, man, yeah. So we had a huge day that day. Probably close to 100 cars. We raised a ton of money for that organization. We gave away a hot rod that day.
Wow.
So that was our big focus. And that's what our new drive is with that Fancy Nancy program. We're going to be raffling off vehicles to help. We're going to be like an umbrella to help other nonprofits and charities that need a little push. Some of them to help keep the doors open. Because that's a struggle for a lot of, that when you start. started. Like, and it sometimes can get back there when things get lean. You're like, guys, like we got to go to work. We got to figure out something.
Right.
But there's so many people trying to start some initiatives just like what you did, David. And you know how hard it was. And you were probably going to work every day and putting your own money into this thing. And I know that because I've done that. But like we're trying to figure out a way to help people pass that hurdle because it takes so long to ramp up to where you got to.
Yeah, that's a great mission.
Yeah. So like,
and I would say there were along the way, there were definitely some people who stepped up for us. To kind of times we're about to close our door and some miracle happens. Somebody steps up and gives us $3,000, or Dr. Robert Seymour steps up, lets us use his property, for 4 months to keep the ministry going. And
that's right.
And
shout out to him, by the way. Great dentist in Hernando, Mississippi.
They are this. Him and Jason over there at their that dental practice, they are salt of the earth.
Yeah, man.
And one of the things they do, super shout out to them. This is just a blessing for our women in Olive Branch. Yes. But when women have been there, like 4 to 6 months have been there, they do all their dental work.
Oh wow!
So there's a lot of women coming in with teeth damage from addiction, and for probably 6 or 7 years now, every woman, if she gets to that 5 or 6 month mark, she's really been sincere. Then they do the dental work to help them, and just do it with love because they want to see them women, is to get their self-esteem back.
It's esteem. It's the power. All that stuff.
And so they, it's been a tremendous blessing for the women in our Olive Branch.
That's
Center.
Awesome, man. I didn't even know that. Thank you guys very much for that. By the way, if anybody's listening, whoever watches the show that works there. So I used to go there a long time ago, my kids and us and my wife, and I don't know why, maybe it was because of where we live, something popped up open, but they were always good to us. My mom went there forever. But yeah, man, that's amazing. And I think you have to have those kind of partners to succeed, in this, whether it be a mental health, somebody that's got an opportunity to counsel your ladies or help them, dentists and doctors and all kinds of, wellness centers, it's important to have that. So, thank all those programs out there that help these organizations locally, because without them, I don't think they could get it done. It costs so much, you know, and you got, like you said, you can only write so many grants and get so much help. And that's got to be allocated towards real special needs, right off the get-go. So I understand that 100%. What else is on y'all's minds before we cut out of here? Anything?
Well, since you're pressing, I just thought about something. We're having a Christmas wrapping paper sale at our thrift store, and we had a donation. It was the group, the food bank in Horn Lake called us, and Mike. Mr. Maya, I was trying to remember his name there, and who runs that operation, said, "Do you want any Christmas wrapping paper?"
Yeah.
Well, that turned into us picking up 14 truckloads of Christmas wrapping paper. We're selling it. I think it's $1 a roll.
Right.
All proceeds are going to help open up the Women's Center in New Albany.
Oh, great.
So, these rolls would cost you $8 to $10 per roll. Pretty nice paper, and you can get it for $1.
Yeah. I don't know what day this is going to release.
I know we're close to Christmas. Maybe you want to get 10 for next year.
Yeah.
But thrift store in Olive Branch, Warrior Center Thrift, and Olive Branch, and all we're doing this massive Christmas wrapping paper project.
Apparently, and look, for you ladies that love the day after Christmas, that's a big deal, right?
Yeah, it will probably be 50 cents a roll.
Right. You can really stock up then.
Maybe a quarter a roll that day.
Even if it's January 1st, come on in and check it out, because like the Warrior Center thrift store in Olive Branch.
We have 120 pallets of that stuff.
Oh, my goodness, David.
But, they gave it to us, and so we just thought, let's do a fundraiser with it.
Right.
Awesome. And so that's going to help.
You should tell me sooner. I could have been like telling people on the show for a couple of weeks.
Yeah. We just got it 2 days ago.
Oh, you did? Okay, so you didn't know. Yeah.
And part of it was they didn't donate it until they knew they're not getting any more orders.
Right. Who was this again?
In Design in Olive Branch, and it's actually a company that's their only business, Christmas wrapping paper, but they're going out of business.
Oh wow!
They finished up their sales, and so
they're done.
They were giving it to nonprofits all over DeSoto County.
That's pretty cool then. Yeah, I didn't know about that.
And we worked maybe a little harder than the rest with 14 trucks.
You have a army of folks, so that y'all can get a lot done quickly because you can pull your men's center people down and everything. So how many guys do you got up there?
At the men's center, 70
so
bed,
it's a bigger,
and then a 65 bed in the Bolivar, Tennessee men's center.
Man, you got a lot of folks, man.
Yeah. 130 men's beds and 100 women's beds.
Wow, man. That's amazing. And then all the staff that goes along with it. Yes. So it's a big organization.
Yes.
So people, use this opportunity. If you got a loved one, you can't just, this may be the greatest opportunity in the world, and the gift you can give them is to get them involved at the Warrior Center, whether it be men or women, but especially the women. I feel like there's not enough resources for women in general. And one of the things that issues with is, and I love the idea of the opening the place up for the women and the children, because their reluctancy sometimes to get help with their needs is they don't want to leave their children for extended periods of time. And so even just to leave for a week is almost crippling to their mind to think about that. And to leave for a year, oh my gosh, it's not even a possibility in their head. So I know that need, and it's not like a domestic house where it's like, where they all come at once with no plan, it's, your stuff's more long-term, focused. And so I'm assuming with this new house, there's going to be educational programs within it.
Yes.
Everything that the kids need, the mothers need, everything.
Yeah. This model, we're going to model it after this program in Birmingham, kind of a sister ministry, but they've tackled this before. But you have everything from child psychologists, night security, just the security. You have to be approved by the state because you're dealing with children. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So it's a much higher level way of doing things. Yeah. Because you're dealing with children. Yeah. But they do it very, very well. So we have coaches there, and we're going to model when that opens, we'll be modeled after that.
Absolutely. And I think it's always, like we talk about how people do things a little bit different, they put their twist on it, but like it all goes back, like don't reinvent the wheel. Let's just try to make it roll a little smoother.
Right.
That's the whole goal. Like don't try to relearn it. Like if there's there's already a path to success and you've seen it, just take it and run with it in this area because we need it bad here. And if I can say one more thing before we leave is like, please, our local governments, man, please get involved and try to help some of these houses because we rely way too much on the public and the churches locally to fund our needs. We're already taxed enough. Like, where's the tax dollars going? Like, can somebody explain why we're not doing more? And I'm not maybe they just don't know. I don't know. I'm sure you've been in front of a lot of them, over the years trying to get help.
Yeah, part of our problem is that we're faith-based, and there's a lot of boundaries out there. Yeah. So we've never done well at that. We got one grant out of the state of Tennessee, and it was a pretty small one. So that's why we went the social enterprise route. But but you're right in that. A lot of if we know. I used to live at the jail, and I needed to be there. So God can use that too. Like sometimes, like you need law and order, you need jails, you need. But when you especially talk about addiction problems and all the crime that comes out of that, you could reduce crime more
if you spent those dollars in that direction. Yes,
and especially programs that work that are evidence based that you can you got the proof and that they would be you cut because police stop the most crime.
Yeah.
But our kind of programs are next because if you have people getting off drugs and getting their life back together, the crimes that they're out here committing and running around stealing cars and selling drugs and hurting other people, all that stuff going on,
it slows way down.
That, and help contain that through programs. Yeah. And so I think the judges that court order residents to the faith-based programs, whether it's John 3:16, Precious in Pink, Warrior Center. Not only are you giving them people a chance, maybe they wouldn't have went there on their own. They'll do it, and a lot of those lives can be changed. But it really, because they're just going to do that time and get out and go back to the same thing. I know I did that 100 times. I get out and go do the same thing.
Rotating door.
Yes, but now you give them a chance to get out and not go back and be committing the crime. So it really is. So support, those support. I know that even the sheriff office, they have a cabin at John 3:16. That was great. Sending some of the guys there instead of Parchman.
I think the former sheriff was a very big advocate for John 3:16. Yes. Yeah, and I think there's a ladies' side of that too, right?
They do. They do. Yeah. I think the men's cabin out of the DeSoto County Sheriff's Department the cabin is a men's. Yeah. But they do have a women's.
Yeah, I didn't even know that till a while back. Somebody was telling me about it, and I don't remember the name of it. But I think that I mean, look, there's not enough. Clearly there's not enough organizations to help. Right. And primarily because, like I said, the cost is so enormous just to kind of run an organization like that.
Yeah, to house people long term. Like that.
It really is. So, I just implore more of our local city municipalities to get involved. And, I understand we got to beautify our cities and we got to reinvest. Yeah, we can do all that, because I think the money's there. They say it ain't, but I know how much they charge for things, and I see it at work for sure. But I don't think anything's more important than our citizens, and just a humanitarian need, like we're humans, Right. So let's think about the mental health in our area. The more every day, man, people are just losing control of their lives. Sometimes it's not even. Things aren't that bad, but they're losing control, so they fall into some kind of addiction process. Try something. It gets out of control. Everybody can't handle having a couple of drinks, Some people got to drink the whole case, or the whole bottle, 2 drinks. It's going to be empty before I leave here. And it's because then it shows them a path I didn't think about nothing the whole time I was doing that, So that's where it starts. So you teach them to cope. So like you said, reinvesting in your citizens and the people in the community, it's long term, it's going to be a better dollar spent on their behalf than it is in the jails, in my opinion. And it could come full circle. And another thing I believe is if we do lock them up, and I know we have to have law and order, like you said, David, but if we can feed them 3 square meals a day and provide medical and housing and stuff like that, I think we can also do it for the children, especially like I do, feeding the children. I don't think that should be an issue either. You know what I mean? Right. So and it's just so there's a lot of things, and I don't know if it's nationwide, but I know in Mississippi it's a struggle just trying to get money out of the state government and things like that. Because it's kind of like I say this all the time. It's a pull yourself up by your bootstrap state. They don't really want to give you any kind of freebie. You know what I mean? Right. And I'm not asking to get freebies. We're just trying to help our fellow human being. That's all it is. So again, that's why there's no homeless shelters down here. They don't want it in their backyard, and I get it. We don't want it to be South Memphis. We understand that, but. With the growth of the area, more problems are going to come regardless if you want them or not. You're going to have people standing on the corner begging. I see it sometimes in Olive Branch even. There are more resources there in that area. In that person's eyes, there's a lot of people moving, a lot of money moving. Well, hey, there's somebody there can possibly help me, so let me get in that area. And then they find out there's nothing there.
I could. They have to hide because it's illegal to be homeless. Yes. But I could take you to 2 homeless people in Olive Branch right now, and where their tents are, and where do they live and stay. And we've offered them help. They don't want that yet, but they're there, and they're in South Haven, and they're in the woods.
Sure, they are. Yeah,
they just ain't allowed to hold the sign. So which. They have those laws, and for some good reasons, because of what that can draw in. You know,
we don't want it to turn into Memphis for sure, absolutely. So I applaud the effort to kind of keep it at bay. But when they do show up, we have to have some resources to help them. You can't just kick them back out across the state line and be like, no, not here. That's not a good human thing to do to your fellow person. So anyway, guys, we can talk all day about what's right and wrong. And I want to thank you both for coming in and talking about the amazing things that the Warrior Center for Women is doing. So, man. And it's nice to meet you, Lucia.
Nice to meet you, too.
Yeah. We're friends. So I didn't even know that on Facebook. Probably because of the Warrior Center. I'm telling you, that's what it happened. You did see it. I just know. I bet she sees this one. She'll be watching her own show. Yes. So, guys, look, reach out to the Warrior Center at warriorcenter.org if you want to find out a way to help them, be a part of it. Maybe look at probably getting a loved one or a friend that may need some help, especially in that case. Yes. You got to reach out to these guys. I don't want to say this phone number because that's not your cell phone, is it?
That one is a cell phone. I can give them that. We have a main Warrior Center.
I was going to say, I got that number, but I don't think you want that out to the world.
Yeah, the help. Well, you may have a hard time getting in touch with me. We have an emergency 24-hour helpline. 901-351-1259. So a man or woman can call 901-351-1259, and they can direct the different men's and women's centers where there's open beds, that sort of thing.
Right. So they can divide them. Warrior Center for Women, Olive Branch, Mississippi, soon to be New Albany, obviously, and Tennessee, you have one as well.
Yes.
But what we're focused on here is local stuff, and we're trying to help the local community. So just kind of think about this, guys. In your time of need, go visit their webpage, warriorcenter.org. shop at their thrift store in Olive Branch. It helps provide the funding for the house in the center. I shouldn't say house, it's a center. Yeah. They do have 2 sober living houses. Also helps fund all that. So shop with them, donate to them. If you got anything you need to give away that you're just like, I'm going to trash it, talk to them about it. Maybe they want it. They can repurpose it, put it into one of their homes or something, or resell it to kind of raise money. So reach out to them. It's a great organization. And till next time, guys, thank y'all for coming. We'll see you. Out. Bye.